From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Sportsline.
Loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The losing streak has extended to 3 games after a 36-22 loss at home yesterday at Nissan Stadium. We'll open up the phone lines as we always do here on Titans Talk. 737-7767 is the number. It was a game where the Titans felt like coming home, facing a division opponent that they have owned in recent years. They've won 5 in a row, 9 of 10 in this series. They thought they'd get well being at home at Nissan Stadium. And frankly, I thought the matchup favored Tennessee for this reason. And we'd seen it play out this way earlier in the year. When the Titans have played inferior teams, their brand of football and lining up in the trenches and trying to run the ball and then getting it done defensively has been good enough up to this point of the year. They've had issues when they've played elite teams, the teams that you'd likely see in the playoffs. And we've talked about that, and we talked about it last week when Amy Adams-Strunk, the controlling owner, made the decision to part ways with John Robinson, the general manager. In large part, that was due to the fact that they don't believe right now in that building amongst management that the roster is good enough to beat the elite teams in the league. They're playing well against the bad teams. They're not playing well against the Bills, the Bengals. Last week against the Eagles, that was an embarrassment in Philadelphia. They just don't seem to have the firepower. But before yesterday, they were unbeaten against teams with losing records. As I've said multiple times on this program, the Titans have been exactly what their record says they are. They have been, going into Sunday, a 7-5 football team that struggles to beat the good teams but beats the bad teams. And that was the thought going into yesterday, that the Titans would be able to line up and run the football and that the defense would do enough against the Jaguars. Derrick Henry had 96 yards in the first quarter yesterday. That's the most he's ever had in the first quarter in an NFL game. The Titans were able to move the ball in the first half. The defense was able to get off the field when they forced the Jaguars to drive the field. But as we all know, that's not what decided the game. The Titans' self-inflicted wounds ruined the afternoon. They had 4 turnovers for a second time this season. And those turnovers led directly to 20 Jacksonville points. Conversely, the Titans defense hasn't gotten a takeaway in 4 full games. That is not a recipe for winning. Jaguars got confident. That offense got going. Titans defense beat up, struggling right now. Trevor Lawrence threw for a career-high 362 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of those went to his tight end, Evan Ingram, who had career bests of 11 catches and 162 yards receiving. Titans had no answer once the offense got going, but it got going in large part because of where they got the football due to those mistakes by the Titans offense. And I tweeted this at the time yesterday. The Titans had a brilliant script on their opening drive of the game. They targeted 5 different receivers. Henry didn't have a big run, but he was effective running the football on the drive. And the Titans marched 75 yards and score on the opening drive. When they got the ball back after the defense got a quick punt, I tweeted, "This is the drive that the Titans have struggled all year to put their foot on the opponent's throat and to grab control of a game." We just haven't seen that. No matter who they're playing, we have not seen the Titans grab control of a game. We haven't seen the Titans extend a lead and get up by 2 or 3 scores and just truly be in control and not have to scrap and claw all the way to the end. And yesterday at that moment, it felt like the time, maybe this will be it. Brilliant first drive. Defense gets you the stop. Let's see what you can make happen. And instead, the Titans struggle first and second down, third and long. Pass rush comes. Ryan Tannehill gets blindsided and fumbles the football. Jaguars recover at the 20. How does the offense get going? They literally start their second possession in the red zone after a turnover. Titans come back after the Jaguars score to tie it, 7-7. Great answer. Drive right down the field for a touchdown. Go up 14-7. Feels like they're back in control of the game. Fluky turnover. Only way the Jags had gotten going at that point. Titans had scored on their other two possessions. It felt like they had an opportunity to take control again. What happens on their next drive? They're driving. They're marching. Maybe this is the time. And a miscommunication between Tannehill and receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Westbrook-Ikhine doesn't even look back for the ball, and Tannehill throws an interception to Andrew Wingard. Jaguars take advantage of a short field and get a field goal. It's a 14-13 game just before the half, and this was an enormous swing. Titans are driving again, chance to add on points. Field goal, touchdown, whatever. Chance to add to the lead before the half. Have the lead after a first half where you turn the ball over 2 times and get ready to go play and win the second half with hopefully more clean football. Derrick Henry has a big play going on a screen. He breaks a tackle along the sideline and doesn't see Shaq Quarterman. He gets popped. He fumbles the ball right into the belly of Josh Allen, and it's the third turnover of the first half, and the Jaguars go and take advantage again. They go down the field. Chance on the final pass for Roger McCreary to get an interception. He can't quite stretch far enough to get it. And Zay Jones catches it, dots his toe in the end zone, and it's a Jaguars touchdown. So instead of the Titans getting points there to extend the lead, the Jaguars score before the half to take the lead. And then they get the ball to start the second half. They go right down the field and score. It was at least a 14-point swing. And at that point, the Jags had complete control. They were up 27-14. And the Titans have scored 27 points one time this year. So you knew it would be an uphill battle. And all the Jags scored 29 unanswered, 36 in all, week after the Titans gave up 35 to the Eagles. And they get a huge win. And now this division race, which we have thought for several weeks was completely over, not so fast. Titans are still in very good position. 2 more wins in the final 4 games, and they clinch the division, no matter what else happens. But it's a little bit more tricky now. They could also get a lot of help from the Jags and Colts, who, at least up until the Jags yesterday, have wanted to help the Titans out all season long by losing to opponents and not catching up ground when the Titans have struggled. But with the Jags winning yesterday, there's at least a conceivable shot that the Titans could blow this. Because when you turn the ball over 4 times like that, I got news for you. You're not beating anybody in the National Football League. You're just not doing it. Titans do have the Texans left. You got to think that's going to be a win, but not the way they played yesterday. So they got to find a way to turn things around. And they're still in the driver's seat in this division. But you want to figure this thing out, because if you don't, say you lose this week in LA against the Chargers team that's starting to perk up a little bit. Even if you beat the Texans, say you lose to the Cowboys then, you'd be 8-8 going to that final game. If the Jags win 2 of their next 3, they'd be 7-9. And that would set up the final game of the season. By the way, the Jags host the Cowboys, go to the Jets. Both of those games should be challenging for them. They'll be underdogs in both of those games. But then they get the Texans. So both teams get the Texans. Say they both win. They both get the Cowboys too, by the way. Say they both beat the Texans, both beat the Cowboys. But the Titans lose in Los Angeles, and the Jaguars win in New York against the Jets. Jags would be 7-9, Titans would be 8-8. And that would set up a winner-take-all game for the division January 8th in Jacksonville. And that is your worst-case possible scenario. The Titans do not want to be in that situation. This had been wrapped up. And if you win Sunday, if you win yesterday against the Jaguars, the Jags season is over. They are eliminated, and the Titans' magic number is 1. A win or a Colts loss or tie, and you win. That is it. But by losing yesterday, you open up this possibility. You open up the possibility that if you go 1-2 in the next 2 games, and it's very likely the Titans will be underdogs in 2 of the next 3 games, you open up the possibility that the Jags can come back and at least make that game interesting on January the 8th. Now, that may be a big ask for the Jaguars, who before yesterday had lost a whole bunch of games, obviously. They were 2-2 in their last 4, but they got embarrassed the week before in Detroit, giving up 40 points to the Lions. This has been an inconsistent football team. Yesterday, they took advantage of what the Titans did, but they may be able to take advantage of what the Titans have been doing in total in this division. And we will find out if that is the case. So all of a sudden, the concern meter about this season with the Titans rises to here. You'd look at every game up until now and you say, uh-oh, that's not great. That's not great. They maybe don't match up with the best. But it was just kind of an understanding in this division that the Titans were going to ultimately get it done and win the division and get back to the playoffs again. And now, hold on. It's not quite that simple. There is still football to be played. And here's a big question I have as they regroup today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park and get set to go to work this week in preparation for that trip out to Los Angeles. During Mike Vrabel's entire time here, but certainly over the last season and a half, when injuries have besieged this roster, the mantra in that building, time and time again, has been next man up. Doesn't matter how big the star is that goes down, the starter, whatever their role is. The belief has always been that the next guy, even if he comes off the street on Wednesday for the first day of practice in the week, that he'll be able to step in on Sunday and fill a role and play up to the standard that the Titans expect. And they've had great success doing that. But I wonder, is that a bit more of a challenge to do right now? After losing 3 consecutive games, but more importantly, after the decision was made last week by Amy Adams-Strunk to fire John Robinson, the guy who constructed the roster that the Titans have right now. Essentially saying to the entire team that the owner doesn't believe that you're good enough in the roster, that the next man up isn't good enough. Is it as easy to sell that? Is it as easy to have that mantra and to have that belief and confidence in the guy next to you? Or if you're the guy coming up from the practice squad or the guy who was just signed, is it as easy to believe that and that you can rise to the occasion and that you can win a game on the road in Los Angeles, or that you can snap this 3-game winning or losing streak and get back to the winning ways? Is it as easy to believe that and to have confidence in that when it doesn't appear that your owner has confidence in this team or this season? I think that's a big challenge. And for that reason, I think right now, at the end of his 5th season, Mike Vrabel faces his toughest stretch as a Titans head coach. The owner of the team just said that she doesn't believe this team is championship worthy. But you are still in the middle of a season as a first-place team. Can you rally the troops to get that done, to secure a third straight division title and get into the playoffs? And can you make them have a belief internally that they can go out and actually compete in the playoffs? That is the challenge in front of them, given everything that's happened. That, to me, is the greatest challenge Mike Vrabel has faced since he has been the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Your thought on what you saw yesterday at the game and where you are on the panic meter right now. How concerned are you about the Titans actually wrapping up this division and getting to the playoffs? Your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the current situation, more on John Robinson's firing. We can get back into that as well. 737-7767 is the number. We got open phone lines for you. We'll get to those calls and much more when we return. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.